How can you be sure it was really him? I could feel it.
Who's this Santa? He's scaring my kid.
Yeah, he's scaring me too.
It is officially Terrifier 3 weekend this weekend. With everything going on at the box office, could we really see Terrifier 3 open up at number 1? That is highly likely, but I've already seen the movie. You can go check out my review. It is linked somewhere down below or in the card above, but this is the latest film from Damien Leone and the third film in the series of Terrifier. Of course, we know Art the Clown has made other appearances, but in the series that Damien Leone has done with David Howard Thornton, this is number 3, and this is the second one with Lauren Lavera returning as Sienna Shaw. So the premise of this film is on Christmas, Sienna Shaw is attempting to rebuild her life after Art the Clown pretty much wrecked it in Terrifier 2, and we see that he has now returned alongside his accomplice Victoria Hayes to pretty much cause havoc yet again. So let's get into a little bit about the film itself. I watched it at Fantastic Fest a couple of weeks ago, and I will tell you, I was pleasantly surprised with this one. I was skeptical about it going into it. I didn't know if this was going to be it or not for me with the Terrifier series, but I said to myself, if I don't like this one, I'm just never going to be on board. And that's just the truth, right? If you don't really like the first 2 Terrifiers, this is the make it or break it for you. And I will say, I am on the Terrifier train. Let's go with number 4, which Damien Leone has already said will be on the way. Fingers crossed it's soon. So the big question a lot of people had is, how can Terrifier 3 amp up the antics from Terrifier 2? Because Terrifier 2, the bedroom scene alone was just pure insanity, right? I mean, so many people were just like, what is this? I am here to tell you, if you're afraid that Terrifier 3 will not live up to number 2 in terms of the gore and the insanity, you are not ready for what's about to come, because Terrifier 3 not only exceeds that, but I don't see how anybody can sort of exceed what Terrifier 3 does here, because pure brutality is what comes here. And there is a scene that I don't think anybody's talked about yet that is just like, what the hell did I just see? I am telling you, get ready for this one. But we've been seeing already that several audience members, according to the press in the UK premiere, walked out, and apparently one of them even vomited, according to the movie distributor at the time over there. So it's apparently a thing now that we're seeing where it's Terrifier that they are putting vomit bags, and they did this at Terrifier 2 during the premiere as well. The film does contain some very excessive gore in it, and apparently the warning also read, if you're feeling unwell, please find a member of staff. Staff trained in first aid are on site. According to Damien Leone, he apparently did witness some of the crazy stuff at the UK screening, so there's that. Now, according to the latest reports, Terrifier 3 will actually be opening up in 2,500 plus screens and is aiming for a 20 million box office opening. With the budget of Terrifier 3 only being 2 million, it is supposed to 10x budget in the first weekend alone. Which, could we see this movie go to the 100 million? I mean, I wouldn't even put it past that it wouldn't be able to make it, because I think Terrifier 3 is coming with a lot of word of mouth. It is a franchise that sort of has a lot of strength behind it. We've seen it with the previous film, which went on to become a global success. And I mean, there's not much at the box office really holding it back, right? I mean, we do have Joker for Let Do, which isn't getting the best box office look right now. Still, I will tell you, I am a fan of Joker for Let Do. I don't care what anybody says. I enjoy that. But anything else beyond that playing is just The Apprentice, which I think has its own audience, and Terrifier, which has its other audience. And I think that everybody's just looking for that horror film to come out in theaters, right? A lot of the horror movies this spooky season are sadly just going straight to streaming. So Terrifier has a pretty open landscape to go through all of spooky season, and I think we're about to see Art the Clown be immortalized. This could be the very breakthrough it needs into the mainstream. Like, yes, it's at Spirit Halloween stores and all of that. Now it's in the Call of Duty skin, but I think this movie's really going to push Art into the Jason Voorhees, into the Freddy Kruegers, into the Michael Myers. So I will be talking more about Terrifier 3 on Friday once it releases. We'll do a spoiler talk about it and talk about theories for Terrifier 4. So stay tuned for that. But let me know what you think about all of this, about the gross out scenes that are apparently making people vomit, pass out, or whatever the case may be, and that they even have people on site with can provide first aid. I think that we are definitely getting some very interesting news into the lead up to the film, and I think this weekend it's just going to get even crazier. My screening at Fantastic Fest, I feel like people know what they're getting into with the Terrifier series. Like, these are people that are there to watch horror movies and cinema that is sort of pushing limits, and Terrifier 3 definitely is one of those films, right, that's pushing the limits of what is going to be on the big screen. And the people there, I will tell you, were even shocked at some of the scenes that were happening. I did see some of the people, because I sit all the way at the top usually at the theater, and I would see people covering their eyes, people just holding their heads like, what am I seeing right now? Some people turning away a little bit. Nobody really got crazy or stood up or left that I saw, but it definitely is interesting to hear about other screenings where people are flat out leaving, or some people are just seeking medical aid, right? So I'm very curious how that must have been in the theater like that. Very curious. If this movie opens at 20 million in its first weekend, I would without a doubt believe it can get to that 100 million gross over its course of the time it's in theaters. And we could definitely see Terrifier 4 amp up the antics even more, because they did this with a $2 million budget. I'm curious to see what they can do with maybe 10 million. So we'll see. Let me know your thoughts and your opinions on the film Terrifier 3. Will you be watching this in theaters, or are you waiting till it hits streaming? Are you a fan of the first two, or are you not really liking or vibing with them? Or are you not watching Terrifier 3 at all? Did you just get put off from the first two? Very curious about that. Like I said, I thought Terrifier 1 was okay. I enjoyed more aspects from Terrifier 2. I really enjoyed the characters that they added and the story and all of that. And with Terrifier 3, I was fully on board with the lore and with the sort of mixing the two films together and giving us something that felt a bit more balanced and a very good and cohesive finale, in my opinion, that really sets up so much for the next one. The stakes have never been higher, I'm telling you. I'm very eager to talk more about that and what it could mean for a future in the Terrifier series. But this gets me excited talking about it and seeing just how much it's making at the box office. It really is such a testament to see that a film that doesn't have that much major players in here, like the studio systems and all of that, really going forth and paving a way for independent cinema and what it can really mean when these studios realize that, hey, some great cinema is happening without you. So maybe you got to change things that you're doing in your system, right? So very curious to see what this holds, but I think it's a win for independent cinema nonetheless. Let me know if you're excited or not for Terrifier 3, and if you're watching in theaters, hit the subscribe button, notification bell. 35,000 subscribers is our goal. I will see all of you next time. Stay safe, stay positive.